What's your response to people who say, I'm just someone who's played by the rules?
For sure. And I think if you look at the reason why the rules have had to change, I think that sort of unlocks what's really going on here. This is housing that is desperately needed by people as long-term homes in the middle of a prolonged housing crisis. And when we have to choose our priorities and how we're using that housing, I think it's a good policy choice to say housing that can sustain people, like be long-term homes, we should be using it for that purpose. Now, does that mean people who bought them may be able to rent them out for less? Sure, that might be the case. The immediate short-term profits of short-term rentals might be higher. But one thing that I think does get forgotten a lot in this conversation is, first, I mean, it's the invisible tenants. It's all the people out there who are desperately searching for housing and would wish that some of these units would come back on the market so they could live in them instead of living in their RV, living on their friend's couch, perhaps being actually on the street homeless. And I think we also miss out on the balancing the equation between the property owner and the tenant. Someone who owns one of these units and has been renting it out short term, if they can no longer do that, they have a choice to, you can continue to rent it out with perhaps some less profit, but they're also sitting on a very large, substantial investment where in BC, if you've owned a unit for, more than 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you're seeing significant equity in that property. You can sell at, you still have, you're still in that case and balancing the interests of that landlord who owns, likely hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars valued property versus that person who just needs a home. We have to establish a fairer balance, and it might mean that maybe you can't make as much money as you were allowed to before.
Okay, I wonder if they would say yes, but that money isn't liquid right now, right? It's sitting in this property, and until I sell, I'm still going to be, as they say, cash poor.
Sure, but the question is, what is more important? Is it better to allow people to lock up these houses as investments and profit off of them in the way that they want to most? Or is it more important to make sure that houses and homes are actually being used by the people who need them in long-term housing? And I think the needs of the greater and the latter has to outweigh. If you look at the housing crisis, this isn't a situation where we need to be carefully tinkering about how much water we're pouring on this fire. We need buckets and hoses. And this is getting, we have to take these kind of steps to try and solve the problem.
Are these rules, and is it tinkering or a bucket and a hose?
I think it's, it depends. If these units are returned back to the long-term market, 10,000, even these 10,000 remaining units, that's a lot of supply that can go to serve the unmet demand in the province.